Hello everyone, welcome to another deck tech. Today we're going to showcase Yuriko, Tiger's Shadow. Yuriko is a human ninja. She's in the mirror colors. She's a very fun commander to play. So basically she has two abilities. First one is Commander Ninjutsu, which is for 1 blue and 1 black. Return an unblocked attacker you control to hand. Put this card under the battlefield from your hand or command zone, tapped and attacking. So in a nutshell, this is basically attack with a creature. If the creature is unblocked, pay the mana cost, replace the attacking creature with this creature. This ability is very powerful because it allows you to cheat commander attacks. So if this Yuriko dies like 5 times, the 6th time you need to play her, you just need to play the 1 blue and 1 black. So it will allow you to cheat the mana cost, the commander attacks quite easily. The next part of her ability is, whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to the card's converted mana cost. So again, another powerful ability. So this is basically card draw on your commander, and basically you kill the other players by top decking high mana cost cards. So the idea behind the whole deck is to have as many evasive creatures out. Hopefully most of them are ninjas. Attack with them and trigger multiple triggers of this ability and take out all your opponents at the same time. So we're gonna start with the non-basic lands. First land we have is Mood Vault. Tap, add 1 generic mana to your mana pool. For 1 generic, Mood Vault becomes a 2/2 creature with all creature types until end of turn. It's the end. So this card is very powerful because that it has that clause, it's all creature types. So this is a ninja, and this will trigger Yuriko's ability. So this is a Blackwater again, just for mana fixing. Senken Hello, mana fixing. Okay, Shizo's Death Storehouse. Tap, add 1 black to your mana pool. 1 black, tap, target creature gains fear at the end of turn. So this is in the deck basically to grant evasion to your commander, as the only downside of Yuriko is that she doesn't have any evasion built in, so no flying, no unblockable. So you would need some extra help to help her go through. Keep in note that many of the times other ninjas will do the work for you. She just needs to be on the battlefield, but granting her evasion is very good. Creeping Target, again, bit of mana fixing, and it can, for 1 generic 1 blue 1 black, it can become a 3/2 black elemental creature at the end of turn, and can be blocked this turn. So again, evasion and evasion and a land at the same time. Sorting Excavations, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce this Soldevi Excavations comes into play. Sacrifice an untapped island or bury Soldevi Excavations. Tap, add 1 generic 1 blue to your mana pool. Pay 1 generic, look at the top card of your library, you may put that card on the bottom of your library. So this is basically in the deck for its scry ability. It's a scry on a land, which becomes very helpful in this deck. When Yuriko's trigger ability triggers, before you resolve the trigger, tap this, scry. If there is a low converted mana cost card, put it on the bottom of your library and hope that the next card is with a high converted mana cost. Something you should know about this deck, and I consider it a bit of that makes it a part of fun, is that it has a bit of randomness. So you may top deck a land and nobody loses life. You may top deck a converted mana cost of 9, so and everybody loses 9 life. So it's kind of random. You can there are some cards in the deck that help you manipulate the top of your deck, so it's not always random, but for the most part it's random. Okay, so I have swamps here, basic lands. I will put a link to the the entire deck list in the description of the channel, so you can know the number of lands and the deck. Okay, so basic islands. Let's get through these as fast as possible. Okay, so those are islands out of the way. Okay, so let's start with the creatures. Spark Double. Spark Double reads, you may have Spark Double enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature or planeswalker you control, except it enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. If it's a creature, it enters with an additional loyalty counter, only if it's a planeswalker. And it isn't a legendary if the permanent is legendary. So basically what it's saying, it can come down as any creature or planeswalker that you control, but the legendary rule doesn't apply. This is in the deck basically to create another copy of Yuriko. So you will have 2 Yurikos on the battlefield and will double your triggers. Okay. Invisible Stalker has hexproof. Invisible Stalker is unblockable. This is basically there to be able to ninjutsu other ninjas, and there are also other ways in the deck to transform this into a ninja and also trigger Yuriko's ability. Clever Imposter. It reads, you may have Clever Imposter enter the battlefield as a copy of any non-land permanent on the battlefield. So this is a very powerful card and very useful in many situations. You can have it enter as a mana rock, as a planeswalker, as one of your ninjas, as an opponent's creature, whatever, depending on the situation. Very good. And also another cool trick is that if you have it enter as a particular creature and you ninjutsu it out back into your hand, you can play it again for some and have it transform as a different permanent. So you can change depending on the situation. Tata Adel Acquisitor. Island Walk. When Tata Acquisitor deals combat attached to a player, search the player's library for an artifact card and exile it. And that player shuffles his or her library until end of turn, you may play that card. So again, this like most of the creatures in the deck, it has some sort of evasion. And it has this nice ability which helps you tutor out either helpful artifacts from the opponent's deck, or mostly I use it mostly to tutor mana rocks and ramp myself with their mana rocks. Again, the number of ninjas in Magic is a bit limited, so you may be saying there's no ninjas in decks. There are, but because of the limited number of ninjas, we had to do, you will see other cards that will transform these into ninjas. So, True Name Nemesis, a very powerful creature. As True Nemesis enters the battlefield, choose a player. True Name Nemesis has protection from the chosen player. So, with protection makes it able to evade a player. The player won't even be able to target, so it will be a bit safe. Again, it's a good ninjutsu target and another good target to transform to a ninja. Okay, Gang Shinobi, our first ninja. Its ninjutsu cost is 3 colorless and a black. Whenever Okiba Gang Shinobi deals combat damage to a player, the player discards 2 cards. In here again to disrupt a bit the player's hand and to trigger Yuriko's ability. Another Triton Stalker. Triton Stalker can be blocked, so basically a 1/1 unblockable. Very good card to have in your opening hand. You can play this on turn 1, playing a swamp on turn 2, and have Yuriko out by turn 2. Same as the previous creature, 1/2 for an unblockable. Another creature which has fear, and when these combat damage you may draw a card, so both card draw and evasive creature. This creature has Shadow, Taco Seer, so this creature can be blocked by only creatures with Shadow, and there aren't a lot of people playing creatures with Shadow, so most of the time this is unblockable. And if Taco Seer leaves play, draw a card, so it has also the benefit of being giving you card draw. Okay, Silent Blade Oni, another cool ninja in the deck. So you can see it has 7 converted mana costs, so this is a very good target to top deck with Yuriko's ability. It has ninjutsu for 6, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, look at the player's hand, you may cast a non-land card without playing its converted mana cost, and it's a 6/5, so quite powerful. Okay, Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre, 11 converted mana cost Eldrazi, so again a very good Yuriko trigger. When you cast a spell, destroy target permanent, indestructible, annihilator 4, and when it goes into your graveyard, you'll shuffle it and your entire graveyard into your library. So most of the time I don't even cast this creature. This is in the deck for 2 reasons: for its high converted mana cost, and to prevent milling strategies from losing you the game. Because basically when this goes into the graveyard, you shuffle your library back and you can continue. Another ninja, Inkai Servant Oni, has for 5 mana cost ninjutsu. Whenever she deals combat damage to a player, you put target creature card from your player's graveyard into the play under your control. And for 2 mana, regenerating guys. Throat Slitter, another ninja, ninjutsu for 3. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, just target non-black creature the player controls. So again, Yuriko's trigger and target removal. So bestow creatures for 5 and 6. If you cast this creature for its bestow cost, it's an aura spell with enchant creature. It becomes creature again if you're not attached to a creature. If intercept can be blocked, and an enchanted creature gets +1/+1 can be blocked. So you can either use it in early game as an early evasive creature and a ninjutsu target for Yuriko, or in the late game you can bestow it onto Yuriko or any other ninja you have and get granted evasion. Hugura Stillwind, so ninjutsu for 4. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may search your library for a ninja card, reveal it and put it in your hand. If you do, shuffle your library. So ninja tutor basically. And for 2 colorless, target ninja creature is unblockable this turn and also grants evasion to your ninjas. Doughty Slayer has Shadow, again, for evasion, and it attacks each turn available. Another evasion creature. Sorry. So, Thief of Sanity has Flying. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 3 cards of the player's library, exile one of them face down, then put the rest into their graveyard. For as long as that card remains exiled, you may look at it, you may cast it, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any type to cast the spell. So basically, it's there as a ninjutsu target, and it has the added benefit of when attacking, you'll be able to cast one of the 3 cards off the top of your opponent's library. Tetsuko Uzumaga Fugitive. Creatures you control with power toughness 1 or less can be blocked. Most of the creatures in your deck are either power or toughness 1, so when this goes down, basically you have most of your creatures will be unblockable. Very good card in the deck. Ninja D powers, ninjutsu for 2 again. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. So again, Yuriko trigger in card draw. So this creature has flying, you sacrifice it, counter target spell or ability that targets a creature you control. So this is both protection for your creatures and evasion. Another ninja, ninjutsu for 1. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may return target creature that player controls to its owner hand. So it's kind of a bit of control and Yuriko trigger. Tasa God of the Sea, indestructible. Devotion, it becomes a creature if you have 5 devotion. At the beginning of your upkeep, scry 1, so a bit of top deck manipulation. And for 1 and 2, target creature you control can be blocked this turn, so it grants evasion to your creatures. Another ninja, Skull Sketcher, 1 black, becomes you have ninjutsu. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, remove up to 2 target cards in that player's graveyard from the game. If you have some opponent which has some reanimation strategy, you can give him some hard time by removing some key pieces from his graveyard with this. So, a changeling, so this is basically every creature type in the game at the same time, and in this case it's a ninja. You tapped another creature you control and gains flying, so it's both a ninja and has evasion. So this creature has shadow, again, evasion, sacrifice, has an ability to sacrifice it and gain control of target creature permanently. Uses ability only if Taco's Deceiver is attacking or unblocked. So if you attack with this and it's unblocked, you can either ninjutsu it or sacrifice it to gain control of one of the opponent's creatures permanently for the rest of the game. So this creature kind of has another variation of Yuriko's ability. It has flying, ascend, which you gain if you have 10 permanents in play. So it also has flying, so it's a good target for ninjutsu if it's an evasive creature. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have the city's blessing, reveal the top card of your library and put it in your hand. Each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the card's converted in mana cost. So it's another variation of Yuriko or card draw, you can say also. Deep Sea Kraken, again another high costed converted mana cost card, another good top deck trigger for Yuriko. It can be blocked. It's a 6/6. You can if you draw this card, you can suspend it for 3, and basically it has whenever an opponent casts a spell, if the Kraken is suspended, remove time counter from it. So you suspend it after 1 or 2 turns in the of the game. This will go down and play. The Infiltrator, basically an unblockable creature, and is also there for its transmutability, which you pay it and search for a card with 2 converted mana cost. And most of the time I use this to tutor for an artifact called Squirrelack, which I'll show you soon. So Shakashima Student, another ninja, 2 converted mana cost, ninjutsu. You may have Shakashima Student enter the battlefield as a copy of any other creature on the battlefield, except it's a ninja, in addition to its other creature types. So it's a ninja, it triggers Yuriko again, and you can have it enter as any copy of any creature on the battlefield, even the opponent's. Please keep in mind that when it enters as a copy of a creature, it still stays as a ninja, so it will still trigger Yuriko's ability. So this is a good target if an opponent has some Eldrazi. You put this in, copy a 10, 10, 11, 11 Eldrazi with an later, and trigger Yuriko's ability also. So very, very, very good card in the deck. Fairy Artisans. Flying, whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your opponent's control, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. Then exile all other tokens and create Fairy Artisans. This is in both as a evasive creature and a ninjutsu target. Also gives you the ability to gain all the enter the battlefield ability benefits of other creatures entering in the battlefield from your opponent, so quite helpful. Another ninja. It has ninjutsu 4/4. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, the player exits the top 2 cards of their library, and the left turn you may play those cards without playing their mana costs. Very nice. Another ninja. So for ninjutsu 4/3, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, create a 1/1 blue illusion creature token with flying. So this triggers Yuriko's ability and also creates you 1/1 blue illusion token creatures, which you can use for ninjutsu targets. Phantom Ninja, basically unblockable ninja, plain and simple, very effective in the deck. So another changeling. Changeling outcast can be blocked and can't block and can be blocked. So this is mostly there to go in early game and go in and trigger as many Yuriko triggers as possible. Keeper of Keys, this creature we have. So when Keeper of Keys enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you're the monarch, creatures you control can be blocked this turn. So this is both granting evasion to creatures you control and card draw at the same time. Plus having 5 converted mana cost is also a good Yuriko trigger. So Soaring. Quantum Spike. Equipped creature has that touch. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, the player loses half of his or her life rounded up. This is very good in this deck, as most of the creatures are unblockable, so you will easily be able to go in with this and half an opponent's life total, and then put Yuriko's trigger on the stack after this and slash his life total with the ability. So quite powerful. Score Rack, I think one of the most powerful cards in the deck. For 2 converted mana cost, goes down, and for 1 converted mana cost, choose any number of cards in your hand, set those cards aside, put equal number of cards from the top of your library into your hand, then put the cards set aside in the way of the top of your library in any order. Sorry for screwing that up, but basically what it says is choose any number of cards from your hand, put them on top of your library, and throw those many cards to replace them. So this is basically used to manipulate the top of your deck. If you're stuck with 6-7 converted mana cost cards in your hand and you cannot cast them, you trigger Yuriko's ability, trigger this on the stack, and put those high converted mana cost on top of your deck, and Yuriko will trigger, the abilities will trigger and deal damage according to those converted mana costs. Quite powerful. Mirage Mirror, pay 2. Mirage Mirror becomes a copy of target artifact, creature, enchantment, or land until end of turn. Basically an all-round utility card. Can be used in many situations. You can copy a ninja you have, you can copy a good enchantment an opponent has. I really love this card. It becomes helpful in many scenarios. Aqueous Form. Enchant a creature. Enchant a creature cannot be blocked. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, scry 1. So this basically grants evasiveness and top deck manipulation with scry. I call scry top deck manipulation, but it's, I don't know if it's a correct term, but basically try to fix a bit what's on top of your deck. If you see a 2 converted mana cost card on top of your deck, put it on the bottom to try and get something which is of a high converted mana cost and deal as much as damage as possible. Okay. Arcane Adaptation. As Arcane Adaptation enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control are the chosen type in addition to other types. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. So this is one of the enchantments I told you before that transforms all of our creatures into ninjas. This is very powerful in this deck. As you can see, the number of ninjas is limited, but with this you transform all your ninjas or your creatures into ninjas. Same thing as the previous card, but instead of a permanent effect, you have to pay 1. choose a creature, and the other than wall, and target creature's type becomes that creature under the turn. So you transform a creature to anything except a wall, and this can be used even on your opponent's creatures, which can become handy in some certain situations. Cover of Darkness. As Cover of Darkness come into play, choose a creature type. Creatures of the chosen type have fear. So you choose Ninja, and basically all ninjas have evasiveness. Xenographed, again another card that you choose a creature type and all the creatures you control become of that type. Conspiracy, again another one. Choose a creature type, all creatures become that chosen creature type until end of turn. Imprisoned in the Moon, you enchant creature, land, or planeswalker, enchanted permanent this colorless land with tap 1 mana, add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool, and loses all other card types and abilities. This is very good as to remove certain problematic commanders or problematic cards. It's even better than destroying sometimes, because the card won't go back to the command zone or be reanimated from the graveyard. Cunning Evasion. Whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, you may return it to its owner's hand. So this is very good in this deck, as you can freely swing in with creatures without worrying that they'll die. So basically, if they're blocked before combat damage is dealt, you will just put them back in your hand. Okay, instances. Pongify, destroy target creature, can be regenerated. The creature's controller puts a 3/3 ape creature token into play, so target removal. Mystic Tutor, search your library for an instance or sorcery card, reveal that card, shuffle your library, and put that card on top of it. So this is a kind of a tutor, and this is mostly used after Yuriko's ability goes on the stack. So Yuriko's ability goes on the stack, you put this, you cast this, you search for your highest converted mana cost instant or sorcery, put that on top, then Yuriko's ability will resolve, and you deal damage. Indiscreet Dreams. As an additional cost to play Indiscreet, I don't know how to pronounce this, Dreams, discard X cards from your hands, shuffle your library for X cards, then your library, search your library for X cards, then shuffle your library and put those cards on top of any order. So this is a win con in many of circumstances where you attack with 4 ninjas, cast this, discard 4 cards, search for the 4 most highest converted mana cost cards in your deck, put them on top of your library, and win the game. Wins you the game many times. Okay, so this is a non-English Cyclonic Rift. Basically, it has 1 and a blue. Return target permanent to its owner's hand. If you cast it for its overload cost, which is 7, you return all permanents or non-land permanents each opponent owns to their hands. So this is kind of a very good board wipe. So whenever, by the way, when Yuriko's ability triggers with this card, you don't choose which converted mana cost damage is dealt. It's both its converted mana costs count. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this will deal 7 damage to everyone. It has never destroy target creature or planeswalker, and exile target card from a graveyard. Create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Stolen identity. Put a token on the battlefield that's a copy of target artifact or creature. So you copy a creature and has a cipher ability, which basically, after you cast this, you enchant this to a creature, and every time that creature deals combat damage to a player, you can copy its effect. So Temporal Trespass, this is basically there because of its high converted mana cost. It has Delve, and take an extra turn after this one, extra Temporal Trespass. So most of the time this is there again, as I said, for its high converted mana cost, and I managed to cast it in a pinch to take an extra turn. Another tutor, Diabolic Intent. As an additional cost to play the Relic Intent, sacrifice a creature. Most of the time I sacrifice Yuriko, as she can easily cheat commander decks and be put into play. It's easy to put her back into play. Search your library for a card and put that card into your hand. Then shuffle your library. Bribery. Search the target opponent's library for a creature card and put that card into play under your control. Then the player shuffles his or her library. So again, 5 mana cost, good trigger for Yuriko. And if you're playing against the opponent which has very good creatures like Eldrazi's and stuff, cast this and get one of his best creatures into play for basically 5 converted mana cost. Personal tutor again. Search your deck for a sorcery card and reveal the card to all players. Shuffle your deck and put that card on top of it. The only downside of this is that it's a sorcery, but again, it's a tutor which lets you put a card on top of your library. So again, a really high converted mana cost card, which on one side reads gain control of target creature with power 2 or less, and surveil 3, then return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Here's of Cabal. Another sorcery with high 10 converted mana cost. Target player sacrifices half the permanents he or she controls, rounded down. You can suspend it for 4. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, if Curse of Cabal is suspended, the player may sacrifice a permanent. If he or she does, you put 2 time counters on Curse of Cabal. So, good way to disrupt some players and a good, really good trigger for Yuriko. Okay, Cruel Tutor again. Search your deck for any card, shuffle your deck, put that card on top, you lose 2 life. Another top deck tutor. Temper of Mastery, a very high converted mana cost sorcery again. Take an extra turn after this one, exile Temper of Mastery, and if you draw this card as the first card that you draw this turn, you can cast it for its miracle cost. Again, I only put 2 take an extra turn cards. I don't like to play them that much, but well, I did, and yeah, very helpful in many scenarios. Okay, last card in the deck, Sorin Markov, Planeswalker, +2, Sorin deals 2 damage to target creature to play, and you gain 2 life, so basically a bit of target removal, but he's basically in here for his high converted mana cost and for this second ability, which is target's opponent life total becomes 10. If you manage to get this out, and you can trigger this ability immediately and you will kill an opponent basically that turn. If you have a couple of ninjas in play, just trigger this and hope you get 10 mana cost from cards, which can be easily done in this deck, and opponent is out. And the last ability reads you can counter-attack your player during that player's next turn, which are rarely or never used. Okay, so that was the deck. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe the video, and see you for the next deck tech. Thank you.